Hi everyone, it's Michelle. I am sharing with you today a application which is using doodling, and I'm applying some gelatos at the end. I'm just starting out with a page which I've applied gesso to, and I didn't use my regular Liquitex gesso in this one. I used the the gesso that comes with the gelatos, and it is a very smooth gesso. I really liked using it, and the reason I used that is because the Liquitex one leaves quite a texture behind, and I didn't want to ruin my pen. And the pen I'm using there is a Sharpie pen, which you can just get at a regular office supply store. And what I'm doing now is I'm just going in and adding a scallop into this part of the treble clef. And I just wanted to point out that the simple thing about doing doodling is that you really can't go wrong. You want to pick a pattern and go with it, and just trust your gut and trust your imagination and play with it. And the more you do it, the more fun it gets and the better you get at it. What I'm doing now is I'm just adding a little half circle inside that scallop. So it's like a half circle in a half circle. And now you can't really see very well because my thumb is in the way, but I'm adding a stripe on top of the scallop. You'll see more there. Now you can see that my thumb's out of the way. And the slower you go too, the better it is. If you rush it, it can be a bit more sloppy. If you take your time, then it turns out a lot better. I just wanted to flip the page there to see if there was any bleed through by using the Sharpie, and there wasn't, so I was really happy about that. And now I'm going in and bravely I'm coloring in the little half circle. And I say bravely because I am using a Sharpie and I'm a little bit worried about it bleeding through, but it ends up that it doesn't, so I'm thrilled. So as you can see, it's just like little steps at a time, and then it comes together. On this part of the treble clef, I decided to do something a little bit different. And what I'm doing is like a double stripe, and then a space, and then a double stripe. I just wanted that part of the treble clef to look a little bit different. And now I'm going into that stripe and I'm adding some vertical lines. So as you can see, it's just adding little bits as you go that makes up doodling. And once you keep adding things, you see the picture come together. Now I'm going to go along that same line and I'm going to add a very little scallop to that edge. And just checking again, and yay, there's no bleed through. So I'm thinking now that this page needs a little bit of color. Sometimes the doodling is left, or most of the time it's left black and white. I just wanted to add a bit of color to this page. So I'm using a Tim Holtz Distress marker, and I'm using the color Broken China. And I'm using the brush tip to go in, and I'm just coloring in every other square there. And using the brush tip, it's really easy. It's almost like painting. You can color in a portion really quickly than if you were using the fine tip. And now I'm using the color peeled paint, and I'm coloring in the little scallop that's along that edge. It's really hard to see now, but you'll see it later in the pictures. And now I'm going to take the color called Spun Sugar. Oh, actually, sorry, I'm going in with the blue again. And I'm just coloring in the other part of the treble clef with the blue. Sorry there, I was getting ahead of myself. So as you can see, it kind of takes on a very different shape, or a very different form, a different picture when you add color to it. So now I'm using the Spun Sugar, and I'm going in again with the brush tip and coloring in the white spaces on that portion of the treble clef. And that's what it looks like when I've gotten it all colored. So I decided that I wanted to use a bit of gelato around the treble clef just to add some more color to it. Give it a bit of background. And so I'm just adding the gelato around the treble clef, and gelatos are so easy to use. You just kind of color with them and they apply so smoothly. The consistency is like a chapstick, and they blend so nice too. So I'm just using a makeup sponge that you can just get at a cosmetic store or even a dollar store. They're very cheap. Just using that to blend. And as you can see, I'm just applying a little bit more gelato. And now I'm going in and I'm going to underline the verse, and I'll take this time to read it to you. I'm reading from the New Living Translation. It's Psalm 149, verses 1 through 6. Praise the Lord. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing his praises in the assembly of the faithful. O Israel, rejoice in your Maker. O people of Jerusalem, exult in your King. Praise his name with dancing, accompanied by tambourine and harp. For the Lord delights in his people. He crowns the humble with victory. Let the faithful rejoice that he honors them. Let them sing for joy as they lie on their beds. Let the praises of God be in their mouths and a sharp sword in their hands. So I'm just deciding now I want to fill in the whole page with the gelato instead of just the part around the treble clef. I found that it kind of looked lopsided. So I'm just taking my gelato and coloring like crazy all along the page. And this time, instead of the sponge, I'm using a damp baby wipe that's quite dry. It's not too wet at all. Basically, I'm using that to blend. And if I used a wipe that was too wet, it would cause wrinkling onto my page. So I'm trying not to do that. I'm just taking another color here and adding just some definition, I guess. And if anybody wants to know the color of the gelatos, I don't know them right now, but if you have any questions about the gelatos, you can always leave a message and I will find out for you. So now I'm just taking a stencil, and I'm taking a wet baby wipe this time, and I'm just randomly going over some of the squares. I'm not trying to get all of the squares, just random ones here and there. And I'm rubbing onto the stencil, and what's happening is it's taking the color of the gelato off. So you can see there the white part. I love doing that with the gelatos. It is so fun. And then what I'm doing is I'm going back with the stencil, and I'm taking the blue, and I'm applying the blue this time. So I'm applying the color. And again, I'm just doing it in random spots. And I'm taking the sponge and rubbing it in, just so it gets right into the squares. I would suggest, if you haven't tried using gelatos, to really try them because they are so easy to use. You can't really mess up with them. They can be a little bit pricey, but you can start with a kit that maybe has 4 in there, and I would really suggest trying them. They're so fun to use. So here's the pictures of the final page. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and if you can let me know too what kind of things you'd like to see more of, I would really appreciate that. I would be glad to make videos for you of more things. So I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day and take care. Bye.